Hey guys, I'm BTC and this is the Mindcrack server. I just went and repaired my pickaxes, hence why I have so many of these blaze rods. And I think I'm gonna have I might actually have too many to even get rid of. Maybe not. Pretty close. Well, I got spares. Awesome. Alright, well, anyways, I am going to be working on my, I don't know, house thing today, I suppose. And I also am going to be taking a question from the big list that people had. Now, today, I'm going to be talking about games. So today will be a light-hearted topic, and this video is actually being recorded really late in the day because my internet has been absolute garbage all day. But thankfully I got a tech coming out tomorrow, so hopefully it gets fixed. Apparently they said there was like a bunch of noise from the outside to the modem, and there was a lot of timeouts and stuff like that. So anyways, hopefully it gets fixed. Alright, so tomorrow is going to be a pretty heavy topic day. So today, like I said, it will be a light topic, which will be, what was your favorite game and what was your worst game? Now, for worst game ever that I've ever played, it is probably you know, I could go with the usual ones like Superman 64. Oh, that is such a bad game. Absolutely just horrifically terrible. I could take another route, which would be something like Darksiders. Now, the reason why I say Darksiders is because it was unplayable. And I suppose, you know, one of the worst games you could ever play would be a game that you can't actually play. And Darksiders is one of those games. Now, Darksiders, you can tell, was made for consoles. But it was eventually, well, actually, I think it was ported to PCs almost immediately. But the thing is it was similar to Transformers: Fall of Cybertron in that you had to use the controller. Or if you use a control, or if you use the keyboard, you couldn't rebind the keys. It was, but for Transformers: Fall of Cybertron, it wasn't that bad. Like I could deal with it. But for Darksiders, it was unplayable. I couldn't play it because it wouldn't recognize any of the controllers or anything like that. So that's a pretty bad game when you can't even play it. Now, let's see. I'm trying to figure out how I want to actually make this. I'm thinking, how do I want to do this? I don't want it to be just like a flat wall. I think I should probably put some of this around the outside, and then probably gonna start creating some archways or something. I don't know, we'll see. Now, going back to the first one though, Superman 64, if you haven't played that, don't. It is considered to be one of, if not the worst game of all time. I mean, picture a Superman game where you don't actually get to do anything like Superman. And if that doesn't make sense, then congratulations, you now know how everybody else felt while playing the game. There have been a bunch of reviews on Superman 64 where the game just gets shredded because it's just so bad. Like, to give you an example, actually, hold on. You think of a Superman game, okay? You think you're gonna fly around, you're gonna be punching stuff, you're gonna be using, the eye lasers and stuff. How did that pig get out? All right, that's typical Superman stuff. You know what you do in Superman 64? You fly through rings. You fly through rings. That's what you do. Over and over and over again. You fly through rings. And the controls are absolutely hideous. Beyond hideous. So that game was absolute trash. I remember my friend bought it. We were working at Walmart at the time, actually. And he was the manager for the electronics department. And I worked in the electronics department. And he bought it. He had tons of money, and he would just buy anything and everything that came out. I mean, seriously, he threw money away. So for him, it was no big deal whatsoever to just go and toss, $60 down on a brand new game. And we got to his house, right? And he put it in. That sounded dirty. He put the game in, and we started playing it. And I was just like, what the is this? What is this? And I could tell that he was like confused at the same time. He's just thinking like, man, now even though he's like I said, he spends money like it's going out of style. I could tell he was like, man, I can't believe I just wasted $60 on this absolute trash. I mean, the multiplayer, if I remember correctly, the multiplayer was basically you like in some weird car, and the goal was to fly through rings. I mean, I can't do it justice. You gotta Google it and look. That is just absolutely hideous. Anyways, all right. So let's talk about something a little bit better. So, best game I've ever played. I say there was a couple of different ones, and I know that doesn't make sense because how can it be the best game if there are more than one? But the thing is, I would break it up into categories like RTS or MMO or fighting or RPG or action or adventure or stuff like that. I think one of the all-time greatest games ever made was a game called Xenogears. It's an RPG. The story was fantastic. I mean, it's just an incredible game. And the controls were really good. The story, like I said, the story was just amazing, absolutely amazing. And I would absolutely, even to this day, I would still recommend Xenogears. It's that good. Okay, so how Xenogears was is you would have your characters, okay? So you would be like humans, and you could fight in that form, or there were other times when you would fight in giant mech type things. So think of it like Power Rangers almost, except much more seriously adult themes, like not like adult as in nudity or anything like that, but adult as in what kind of story it had. I mean, to give you, I don't want to really give it away, because I mean it's like that good. But one of the parts in the story, when you finally get there, it's just like, oh my god, like wow, I can't believe that. That's when you get to a factory. I'll just say that you get into a factory, and yeah, it's towards the end of the game, but that's the sort of thing, and it deals a lot with personality and how someone's mental state can change who they are and things like that. And the story was just absolutely amazing. It really was very, very good. And as I said, I would definitely, even to this day, I would still recommend that game. Am I building this right? Yeah, I think so. So I would still recommend that game. And the controls were really, like I said, the controls were really, why do I keep doing that? The controls were really good, and just the fighting was also very good. So as far as other types of games, for, let's say, for shooter, my favorite shooter ever would probably be, what was the favorite shooter? Favorite shooter. Well, I guess if we're talking just let's go and kill everybody kind of stuff, I think, you know, Quake and its successors did a really good job of that. I was never into the Unreal tournament or anything like that, but Quake, I remember playing quite a bit when I was younger, and that was a very good game. I do like Doom, though. Doom was also very good. Doom 3 specifically, for more recent-ish games, I guess. What else? For fighting games, I would have to say Street Fighter 4, my favorite so far. Let's see, what else? What do we got? For RTS, probably... I would probably go with StarCraft. StarCraft is very good. For action-adventure games... Oh, you know what? One of my all-time favorite games is Legacy of Kain, and that entire series. Legacy of Kain, the first one was Legacy of Kain Blood Omen, and there was, what were the sequels? It was Legacy of Kain Blood Omen, then Soul Reaver, then Blood Omen 2, then Soul Reaver 2, then I think Defiance. But anyway, so Legacy of Kain was an incredible game as well. It was a kind of a top, well, it was a top-down game, kind of like the original Zeldas. And man, I thought I was holding shift. It was a top-down game like the original Zeldas. But it was very good, and it actually had a really cool catchphrase in it when he was in combat. The guy's name was Kain, and he was kind of like a snobby nobleman, and he became a vampire. He was attacked, and he was turned into a vampire, and it was. Well, I don't really want to ruin the story again, but so I'm kind of losing my place here. So what happened is Kain was turned into a vampire, okay, and then he was tasked with and he was tasked with basically just killing a whole bunch of people on a council. And the Wind Waker is his favorite. What was the last? Ocarina of Time. I think that's how you spell it. So, all right, let me get this story out before I lose all track. So, anyways, he was basically tasked with killing a council, and he so he is successful at the end of the first Blood Omen, and he gets to choose whether or not he wants to sacrifice himself to heal the pillars of Nosgoth. I think that was the name of the realm. So he can choose to heal to sacrifice himself and heal the world, or he can rule it in its ruins. And it's one of those games where the ending is kind of like meh, whatever. It doesn't have too much, unfortunately. But then Soul Reaver comes out, and Soul Reaver takes off, I think a couple hundred years or 1,000 years or so after Blood Omen. And you learn that Cain refused the sacrifice. He refused to sacrifice himself to save the world, basically. And instead, he chose to rule it in ruin. And you are one of his lieutenants, Raziel. And the vampires in this world slowly change over time, and they become more powerful. They kind of they go into kind of a metamorphic state. And, Raziel goes into one, and he gets wings, which upsets Cain. So Cain actually tears his wings off and casts him into a pit. Now, the pit is like a swirling vortex of water, and in this game, water hurts the vampires, so he basically agonizingly dies over, I think it's 100 years or something like that. And he comes back as what's known as the Soul Reaver, and he can then, rather than drinking people's blood, he consumes the souls of his victims. And I'm doing one of those things where I'm not actually doing anything. I'm just kind of looking around and talking. Now, I don't want to give away too much of the story, because, again, it's a really, really good series, but unfortunately, most of you guys would probably never end up getting to play it, because it was for, the original PlayStation. So I might as well just say it. Raziel tracks down Cain, but he is unable to kill him, and Cain jumps through time. And what happens is Raziel tracks him down, and they end up discovering that both of them are kind of pawns in this master scheme. And Cain realizes that it's not his fault that he's evil. And the reason being is because the former Pillar of Balance Guardian, because each of the pillars has a guardian, and Cain is the Balance Pillar Guardian. But what ends up happening is the former Pillar Balance Guardian is killed, and right when she dies, Cain is born, and that's how it's chosen. Well, her husband or lover or whatever finds her, and he's also a member of the pillars, and when he finds her dead body, he goes insane. I think he's the pillar of the mind. He goes insane, and it corrupts all the rest of the pillars, including its guardians, which means Cain. So moments after Cain was born, he becomes corrupted by the other guardian who went insane. So what ends up happening is they have to fight against the fate, and it's kind of a long story. I'm not really doing it justice now, but it is easily the best story I think I've ever seen in an action adventure game. It might even be the best story I've ever seen, period. I mean, Xenogears is really good, but now that I'm thinking about it, Legacy of Kain, really good. The woman that wrote the story actually went on to write I think the Uncharted games. So she's like lead writer. Oh, what is her name? I want to say, for some reason the name Amy something or other. I can't remember. Anyways, she is so incredibly good at writing for games. It's just amazing. And at the end, Raziel ends up sacrificing himself to cure Cain of his corruption. And unfortunately, that's where the series ended. And they never made any more Legacy of Kains, but it would have been. I really wish they would have made more of those games. If I could say, I guess that's how I would say it. The best game ever, I would say, the Legacy of Kain series, and it's because of all the games I've ever played, that is the one that I would like to see another one made. So, not really sure what I'm doing here. I think I'm gonna start just creating this like a ceiling here. So, but anyways, right. So tomorrow is gonna be a slightly heavier topic, and if you thought some of the stuff I told you before was like wow, wait till you hear tomorrow. So, thank you for watching. Remember, always blame the controller, because it is never your fault. Hey guys, you might know that I run a Minecraft custom map making build team, and we are currently looking for new people. So if you're good at building, making textures, or animating with programs like Blender or Maya, why don't you apply? You can go to blamethecontroller.com or click the link in the description.